Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Yeah, it went live.
Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama. You still have to make me host, I think.
Yeah, you all got the message, right? YouTube live recording.
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhu.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
So how to make you host?
And
Okay,
then
make
one
host.
more thing, because now everybody will present, so I will share my screen and you guys can unmute and then speak. Is
Yes,
it fine?
yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. We'll quickly do the Mangacharan prayer. ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं
चक्षुरुन्मीलितं
येन
तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः
श्रीगुरुवे नमः।
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदाकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं सागरतां सह गणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं स्वादुतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सह गणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विष्णुभानुसुते देवी प्रणनामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये शृण्वन्तं सा कथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणं कीर्तन हृदयन्तः स्तो हि भद्राणि विदुनोति सुरसत नष्टप्रेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोकैर्भक्तिर्भवति निष्ठिकी मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्तपातमहं द्विगुरुं दीनकारिणम् हरे कृष्णा। So, what is the message here? I will be on mute. Okay, fine. And Hari Sankirtan Prabhu joined?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, Hare Krishna, yeah. Okay, sorry, I am not able to see yet this. Let me share again one more time. Share this one. Okay, yeah. So, today we are presenting from Canto 4, the 5th chapter, Frustration of the Sacrifice of Daksha. So, let's see. Let's see. Okay. This is in continuation of the last verse where, if you remember, Sati quit her body because of her disagreement with her father, and she no longer wants to carry the body given by her father, and that's the reason she and another reason was that Daksha actually insulted Lord Shiva, her husband, in the assembly, and that was that was not acceptable to her. So that's one reason. So today, actually, this is the group presentation, and it is actually put together by every one of you. And so this is the order we are going to do it. Like I'm going to do 7, 8 slide, 9, 10 will be Astasaki, Venu Gita Mataji 11th slide, and 12 and 13 slides of Sugopi Mataji. And 14th is Pushpadhani Mataji or Rasaraj Prabhu whenever their turn comes. Okay, and 15, 16 is Hari Sankirtan Prabhu, and 17 is Sachishta Prabhu. Okay. And then we will do a conclusion. So we already did the introduction prayers. So this is the basically frustration of sacrifice of the Daksha. So you can see in the last chapter, the Sati quits her body, and then in this is the where the Daksha self sacrifice ceremony is going on. You can see here. So this chapter has a total 26 slokas, and the breakdown of this chapter is like Lord Shiva creates Veerbhadra to kill Daksha. So now, if you remember in the last chapter, when after the Sati quits her body, Bhragu Muni created the Rabhu demigods, and because of them, all the Lord Shiva's disciples, they could not like keep the fight going on there, and they were all dispersed because of the Rabu, and somehow the Lord Shiva, which is we are going to learn soon, was found out, and then he creates the Veerbhadra. Veerbhadra and his associate arrive at the sacrificial arena where people discuss the cause of the dust storm and Lord Shiva's power. Shiva's followers destroy Daksha's sacrifice. Okay. And Veerbhadra tore Bhragu's mustache, plugged Bhaga's eyes, knocked out Pusha's teeth, and beheaded Daksha. Now, these four names are very important because they will be referred in the next chapter also. And they had, when Lord Shiva was being insulted in the assembly of Daksha, and they all four played the role somewhere or other, basically. And that's the reason Veerbhadra actually attacked on four of them. And then at the end, towards the end, we're going to do the important verses and key excerpts from the purpose and analogy. Thank you. So today we are going to. So this is the Lord Shiva creates Veerbhadra to kill Daksha. So Lord Shiva's anger. Maitreya said when Lord Shiva heard from Narad that Sati, his wife, was dead due to Prajapati Daksha's insult, and that his soldiers had been driven away by the Rabu demigods, he became greatly angry. And then he created the demon whose name is the Veerbhadra. So in an extreme anger, Lord Shiva actually snatched the blazing strands of his hair from the head, and he stood up and laughingly he met as a madman he dashed it on the ground like, and that has created this demon, the appearance of demon, which is you can see in the picture how the towering black demon was created, bright as the three sun combined, with fearsome teeth, hair like burning fire, thousands of arms wielding various weapons, and garland with heads and of men. The demon's instruction. So when the demon asked what he should do, Lord Shiva, known as Bhutanath, ordered him to kill Daksha and his soldiers at the sacrifice. So this is the Lord Shiva wanted Daksha to be killed. Okay, very clear. Declaring him chief of all his associates. So he became the all the his army or Lord Shiva's army head. Okay. The demon's readiness. So Mitra explained to Vidur that the black demon embodied the anger of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and was ready to fulfill Lord Shiva's orders, believing himself capable of taking any position. So he was very confident in any situation he can go and fight, and that is what he's demonstrating to Lord Shiva. So he circumambulated Lord Shiva and he departed from the Lord Shiva's place. Um, Lord Shiva's fierce followers. Many soldiers of the Lord Shiva followed the fierce personality with a tumultuous uproar. He carried a great trident, fearful enough to kill even death. The and wore bangles on his legs and roar, seemed to roar. You can see the in picture like he was so anxiety in the sacrificial arena. At that time, all the people assembled in the sacrificial arena priest, the chief of the sacrificial performance, and the Brahmana and their wives wondered where the darkness was coming from. Later, they understood it was a dust storm filling them with anxiety. You can see the dust storm as they were walking. speculation on the dust storm. So now they're all contemplating what could be. Conjecturing on the storm of origin, they said there is no wind, no cow passing, and it can't be caused by plunderers, as King Prachin Barhisat would punish them. So King Prachin Barhisat's story will come later on Srimad Bhagavatam, but his name is referred here. Where is this dust storm coming from? Is the dissolution of the planet happening? So now Prasuti, which is the Sati's mother, she is expressing her anxiety and accusation. Now she's accusing her husband. Okay. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, along with the other woman, became very anxious and said, this danger is caused by Daksha due to the death of Sati, who, though innocent, quit her body in front of her sister. So next, who wants to present? I think Ashtasaki is there. Correct? Good.
Yeah. So after the Veerbhadra and his associates arrive at the sacrificial arena, the terrifying dance of Lord Shiva happens. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hairs is scattered, and he pierces the rulers of different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hairs like flags as thunder scatters cloud. So this is a kind of a prelude of just like what happens when Lord Shiva is ready to destruct the material world. Then the gigantic black man, Veerbhadra, bared his fearful teeth. He's trying to scare all the audience over there by the movements of his brows. He scattered the luminaries in the sky, and then he covered them with his strong, piercing effulgence. And because of Daksha's misbehavior, even his father, Brahmaji, could not have saved Daksha from this great anger because he invited for it. He invited this destruction by not inviting Lord Shiva to the fire sacrifice. Daksha's ominous vision, while the people talked among themselves, Daksha saw the dangerous omens from all sides on the earth and in the sky. So when the bad times happens, all the bad omens will start coming. You'll hear the dogs crying. You'll hear all the right eye being blinking. Lord Shiva's followers create chaos. Then Maitreya Muni said to Vidurji that all the followers of Lord Shiva surrounded the sacrificial arena, and they were short in stature and equipped with various weapons. Their bodies appeared like those of sharks, blackish and yellowish. They ran around the arena, creating disturbances. And then Shiva's followers destroy Daksha's sacrifice. Destruction of the sacrificial arena. Out of the so many soldiers, some soldiers pull down the pillars and.
Sorry, I think who's the next? I think Venugita Mataji, you are the 11.
Yes, Prabhu. I am from 19th. 14 to 18th is not mine, Prabhu. Mine is 19 to 26.
No, I changed it later on. So if you see the list, it's the slide 11 is
I
yours.
prepared for 19 to 26.
Just do this one, Mataji.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So restrictions of the sacrificial arena. Now, once they entered, Veerbhadra and the Shiva's soldiers enter there. Some of the soldiers pull down the pillars supporting the pandal of the sacrifice, while others enter the female quarters and begin destroying the sacrificial arena. Some even entered the kitchen and the residential quarters. They started the vandalism of the items. They broke all the pots designated for the sacrifice and extinguished the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary line of the arena, while others urinated on it. They also started harassment and arrest of the guests who had come to participate in the sacrifice. Some blocked the way of the fleeing sages, threatened the assembled women, and arrested the fleeing demigods as well. The Maniman, a follower of Lord Shiva, arrested Bhrigumuni. Veerbhadra, the black demon, arrested Prajapati Daksha, while Chandisha arrested Pusha, and Nandishwara arrested the demigods Bhaga. There was a chaos everywhere, and there was a continuous shower of stones that caused immense misery for all the priests and attendees of the sacrifice, leading them to despair in the fear of their lives. Hare Krishna.
So next, who I think Sugopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. The fight is going to come to an end. Daksha's death. So Veerabhadra's fury. Veerabhadra tore off the mustache of Bhrigu, who was offering sacrificial oblations with his hands in the fire. Bhaga's punishment. Veerabhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who was moving his eyebrows during Bru's cursing of Lord Shiva, and thrust him to the ground, forcibly putting out his eyes. Knockout of Daksha and Pusha. Similar to how Baladeva knocked out the teeth of Dantavakra during the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha. Veerabhadra knocked out the teeth of both Daksha, who had cursed Lord Shiva, and Pusha, who had smiled sympathetically. Attempt to behead Daksha. Veerabhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on Daksha's chest and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful. Bewilderment of Veerabhadra. He attempted to cut off Daksha's head with hymens and weapons, but found it difficult even to cut the surface of Daksha's skin, leaving Veerabhadra exceedingly bewildered. Veerabhadra's action. So actually, if Veerabhadra's action, Veerabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena used for killing animals and seized the opportunity to behead Daksha. Here in purport, it is written, like they use the weapon to kill animals, and the animal sacrifice is done. Older animals are sacrificed, and it is for testing the mantras of Brahmanas. They will get a new body. So for that, this weapon is used. Using that weapon, Veerabhadra is trying to kill Daksha. Reactions to Daksha's death. The party of Lord Shiva rejoiced at Veerabhadra's action, while the bhutas, ghosts, and demons made a tumultuous sound. In contrast, the Brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief over Daksha's death. Offering Daksha's head. Veerabhadra took Daksha's head and, filled with great anger, threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial fire as an oblation. The followers of Lord Shiva then devastated all the arrangements for the sacrifice. After setting fire to the entire arena, they departed for their master's abode, Kailasha.
Thank
So
you.
here, everybody are getting punished by Lord Shiva's soldiers. That's what we are seeing in both the slides. If somebody is silent or smiling, so their teeth are pulled out. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, everybody's got punished. Yeah. Venugutta Mataji, you want to add anything on last two slides?
Just two things, Prabhu. One is Mataji already said, but there is a reference of marriage to the Aniruddha, right? So that was the grandson of Krishna. He kidnapped the daughter of Dandavakra, and Dandavakra arrested Aniruddha, and there was a fight between, and at that time, the soldiers of Dwarika arrived with Baldeva, and there was a fight, and that fight was very common at that time, especially in these ceremonies, marriage ceremonies like this, and it was because of the challenging spirit that Kshatriyas have. So they have to demonstrate their challenge and their power. So they had a fight. Similarly, after the fight was done, everything will be settled and everybody will be compromised and things will be back to normal. Similarly, Prabhupada is explaining in the purport, the Daksha and the demigods The Daksha Yajna was also considered as a similar event of challenging or fight, where Daksha and the demigods like Bhaga, Pusha, and Bhrigubani were to punish by the soldiers of Lord Shiva. And at the end, everything will be peaceful. The fight is not as an inimical. Since everybody was so powerful and they wanted to show their strength by the Vedic mantras, all these fighting skills were exhibited by them at the yajna. That was one of the purport and the simile. And the last one is as Mataji mentioned about killing of animals. The divide killing of animals in the sacrificial arena was not for eating or consuming their flesh, but it was for two ways. First is the giving a new life to the animal, and also to test the validity of the mantras, Vedic mantras, or power of the Vedic mantra as a sacrificial performance. And the example Prabhupada gives in the purport is, today also we test animal bodies in the laboratory in the model age. And similarly, in that way, the correctness of the Brahmanas' recitation of the Vedic mantras were tested through the sacrifice. The animals which were sacrificed were old and they were not the losers. But these old animals will sacrifice and get a new life. And this was a test for the Vedic mantras.
Thank you, Mataji. That's beautiful. Yeah. So let's go to next. I think Pushpadani Mataji, if Sraj Prabhu is busy with, yeah.
Yeah, I can go through.
Okay, yes, Prabhu. Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of the important verses. I mean, I took like a 10th and 25, and 10th I will go through. Then 25th is Mataji Pushdharni. So it goes like a यस्मन्त काले व्युक्त जटा कलापम स्वशूल सुच्चापि दर्पित्य दिग्गज गजेन्द्रम वितस्य नित्यम युधपादत्रस्त दोजभानम उच्छा उठासास अस्थन नयुन भिन्न दिग्गम. So this is the at the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva here is the scattered, and he pierced the rulers of the different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like a flags as thunders scattered and cloud all over the world. So this basically happened when Prasuti is talking to like their family members, the powerful about his son-in-law. So how powerful is that? So I mean, this all talk about that. I mean, at the time of dissolution, what happened? Like how the Lord Shiva behaves, right? Is like a hair become opened all over the place, and when its dissolution happened, everything become watery, right? So this kind of all the planets. That is kind of the powerfulness of Lord Shiva. So that's talk about. Let me go through that Pushpadharni. See, we'll go through the next one.
Yes, Prabhu.
साधुवादस्तदातेषां कर्म ततस्य पश्यताम् भूतप्रेतपिशाचानाम् अन्येषां तदिपर्ययः. Upon seeing the action of Vidhava, and the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully. And all the bhutas, ghosts, and demons that had come made a tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the Brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief at the death of Daksha. So this explains about Daksha when the sacrifice happened.
How Daksha was punished.
Yeah. So I think it is all about the Veerabhadya, like the work he has done. I mean, how Lord Shiva become happy, and everywhere like, oh, it's a good, right? And the whatever the Bhoot, Pret, and Asus was there assembled, and they were like very happy. And I mean, then he said, okay, now they're. But the other way, like whosoever the Daksh side, and they were like having because the death of the Daksh, they are like not feeling well, right? So they are doing or something like that. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, bro. So in the last verse, I think there is a one important point I want to highlight, like Prasuti, the reason she's saying, because for Lord Shiva, one king is like, if Daksha is thinking I am so powerful, and she's giving the example here, Okay, what about one king? All the king on the planet are killed by the Lord Shiva. Why Raksha is making such kind of mistake by chastising him, and that is what Prasuti is mentioning here. I think that's what I understood also. Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct, Prabhu. Yeah, Prasuti knows, but looks like Daksha doesn't know.
Yeah, I know that's what the surprise. Okay, so next is Hari Sankirtan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Krishna Prabhu.
So, so I'll just go through some purports and then couple of analogies that we have from this chapter. So the verse 1, Prabhupada mentions that Sati is basically the incarnation of the external energy of the Lord. So as per the quote in Brahma Samhita, or even if we go to Bhagavad Gita, where we hear the power of the material energy, she had the power to destroy the entire world in a way, because she's the consort of Lord Shiva, right? So she was powerful enough to kill her father, but due to her respect for him, she didn't do that, and rather thought it was better to give up her own life, because her husband was insulted by her father, and she was ashamed of being basically she was ashamed that her body was because of her father, who was basically a great person like Lord Shiva, right? And this basically also goes back to certain comments made, like when a Vaishnava is getting insulted, right? There are two options that we have. Basically, one, we either to fight and kill that person, or secondly, walk away from there. Or sometimes you give up your life, right? So in sort of this way, because Sati couldn't kill her father, she gave up her own life. Then the verse 4, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, because now the fight is between Shiva's energy and all the I forgot the names of all the small devatas. What was it called?
Demigods and Prabhu.
Yeah. So there's a verse for that, right? Ribu demigods. Yeah, Ribu demigods. So the Ribu demigods were created by the Brahma Tejas of Bhrigu Muni, right? And all these demons and the Virabhadra is basically by the energy of Lord Shiva. So Prabhupada mentions that sometimes there is a competition between the mode of goodness and mode of ignorance. And even in the verse in Bhagavad Gita mentions that, right? Like there is always competition between the three modes. Sometimes goodness is greater, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance. It mentions that even if one is situated in the mode of goodness, there is a possibility that the position will be mixed with or attacked by mode of passion and ignorance. And this is the law of material nature. And he also mentioned that the manifestation of pure goodness, which is Suddha Sattva, is not possible in this material world. So sometimes we say that we should be in a Suddha Sattva state, but even Prabhupada mentioned that is not really possible, because you will always be attacked by mode of passion or ignorance. Then in verse 8, where the mention of what is the name? King Bhari is mentioned. So Prabhupada mentions that generally, as it's mentioned there, that because all of the demigods say, oh, there cannot be any thieves or plunderers because we are still ruled by the King Bhari, right? So Prabhupada mentions that in a state or a kingdom where there is no strong ruler, thieves, plunderers, rogues, and unwanted population can exist, right? But he also mentions one important point is when in the name of justice, they are allowed liberty. In the state and the kingdom are disturbed. So we see in today's world that generally people like who most of the politicians are not strong. They themselves are thieves and plunderers. So in such a scenario, the whole world is completely disturbed, and there is always some sort of disturbance going on everywhere, right? Whether it's even in a country like India, which is supposed to be religious, which is pious, we have some problem. Even in a place like America, there is some disturbance or the other in terms of stress and stuff like that, right? So that keeps on happening because the rulers are not strong and also not following the Vedic dharma. Then in the verse 12, when his head is going to be cut, right? There, Daksha is mentioned as Mahatma. It says that he appeared as strong-hearted, but technically he was scared, right? So here Prabhupada mentions the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and also Veera Raghava Acharya, and says that basically a person is Mahatma only when he's steady in heart, right? So and also that he has to exhibit the symptoms of a Mahatma or work under the guidance of the internal energy of the Lord. So Prabhupada mentions if one is not doing that, then he's not a Mahatma but a Duratma. So this is a quote from Vishnu Supitakur's commentary. So of course in Bhagavad Gita 9:13 mentions that a Mahatma means a pure devotee of the Lord. Mahatmana tu mam partha devim prakriti mashvita. Right? So he's always to be guided by the energy of the Lord and not, if not, then we should not be called a Mahatma. And technically, like in today's world, we easily give Mahatma than word to many people. But then we have to be we cannot just go by that designation, but we have to see whether the person is really qualified for that title or not. And then the verse 21, we already covered, but it just describes the fight between the demigods, the Ribu demigods, and the Shiva demons. And Prabhupada mentions that such fights between different parties in Kshatriya communities are very, very common, right? The spirit of fighting is not exactly inimical. Because people are powerful, they want to show their strength by Vedic mantra or mystic powers. So all these fighting skills are elaborately exhibited by the different parties, but later on they will come to a compromise. So this is some of the key experts in the purpose. I can go to the next slide.
Thank you. Yeah.
So the analogy, there are two analogies. One analogy is that so Lord Shiva with his trident in hand dances over the rulers of the different planets, and his hair is scattered just as the clouds are scattered over all directions in order to plunge the different planets into incessant torrents of rains. And then the verse 24, which was covered, is that the killing of sacrificial animals was not intended for eating their flesh. It was intended to give a new life to sacrifice animal by the power of Vedic mantra. So just like in modern world, tests are done on animals for medicines. In those times, the power of Vedic mantra was tested on the animals. So the two analogies that we found from this. Thank you.
Well, thank you for finding this. Yeah, that's good. So next is I think Sachi Sudha Prabhu.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So three key principles from this chapter, right? So it was a little bit difficult. So then, so the most important one is I was just correlating the previous one and this one. So the respect and humility, right? Which is the, most of the things, we also try to practice being in Krishna conscious, even in our devotional life and as well as when we are material. So Daksha's arrogance, right, and refusal to respect Lord Shiva. If he would have just done that, if he might not have, um, disrespected Lord Shiva, right, all these incidents might not have even happened. His son-in-law led to a disastrous consequences, right? Mutual respect, especially towards those who are different or whose qualities we might not fully understand, right, is very important in maintaining harmony in relationships. So this is applicable even in family. This is applicable even between friends in work and as well as with devotees, etc. Actually, so that is why I listed it over here. And the point number 2, that is ego can lead to destruction, right? So Daksha's ego not only destroyed his sacrifice, right? So much effort they put in, and then so many great personalities gathered, but everything is, being destroyed, but also caused deep familial and cosmic disturbances. Ego-driven actions can blind us to the greater good. Even Daksha lost his daughter itself, because of this.
Actually, in the next chapter, it says like I think a lot of the animals sacrifice, the animals who were supposed to be sacrificed, they were also killed, and they didn't actually attain the position they should be attaining because
Okay.
it was destroyed. So that was very sad.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And then the point 3 is avoiding unnecessary confrontation, right? So this one is Sati's act of self-immolation and Lord Shiva's later retaliation could have been avoided if Daksha had approached the situation with more wisdom and tact. Sometimes, conflicts are unnecessary and self-created. So we know that conflicts, there is a saying, right? Without two hands, you cannot create the sound actually. So it is always better, to avoid those kind of situations. And but in this case, unfortunately, all these things has happened, which led to, Sati's, uh, disappearance, and as well as all the sacrifices and everything has also happened. That's all I have, Prabhuji.
No, thank you. So actually, in this, the punishment which is given by the Lord Shiva to all these four or all the demigods, some of them remain permanent in nature. Like even though Brahmaji asked forgiveness from the Lord Shiva, and he restored some of it, but he remain some punishment is still remain, even like he doesn't remove everything. He keeps some still like, so it is very important, like we don't get into that kind of conflicts, because we may not even be restored to fully, basically. So that's a good point, I think. Okay, so basically this was a smaller chapter, like only 24 verses, I think. And so, and it's mostly, I think Rasraj Prabhu said it's a Yuddha Kand. So it is actually Yuddha Kand. We saw that. So I want to draw the parallel here. And if since we have time, if you guys like, if you remember, like in a Rome Harshana assembly, when Lord Balram walked in, and similar incident happened. Like Lord Balram actually got, when he walked in assembly, everybody bowed down except the Rom Harshan, who was the leader at that time, and he is also a father of Sutta Goswami. So there also Balaram like was unhappy with this behavior, and he punched the Rom Harshana, and that led him to die. So I just want to open up the discussion, like what do we draw the parallel here, and what is the lesson learned if we have time? It's a similar situation here also, like Daksha walks in and everybody was sitting, and Lord Shiva was meditating, and everybody got up, but then Lord Shiva didn't pay attention, or he was meditating, so he did not even realize, and because of that, this whole conflict happened. So
I think, Prabhu, one word I can say that Vinasakale Viparit Buddhe, right? When there is some destruction happened. So that's, I mean, Daksha was one of the good Vaishnav too, right? I mean, it's not like that. He was the full Vaishnav.
yeah, he's
And
trying
yeah,
everyone to please Lord.
yeah. And only thing he didn't respect, right? Shiva. So this happened, and that's what I am saying. Vinasakale Viprita Buddhe, right? Whenever something vinas to be happened, then the Saraswati Mata take his buddhi away, right? So that's what he is disrespecting. I mean, that's one word I just wanted to mention here. That's it.
But how would you apply in the same in the Rom Harshana case? Because Rom Harshana was a teacher, like he was a great learned, and mm, they are in mode of goodness, kind of like. Maybe
So,
Hari Shankar, we should ask Hari Shankar.
let's,
You are not expert. But I think again, Roma Arshana basically, again, it all depends upon person to person, right? So in this, if you took two examples, in one case, Roma Arshana didn't stand up and he was killed. In another case, Shiva was standing up, didn't stand up and he killed the other, everybody, right, in a different way. Killed means the energy killed the person. So it all depends, I think, on the person who is on the superior position, right? And whether we are giving him the respect with humbleness or not, humility or. So I think that is the difference in both the scenarios. And in both the cases, we find that, of course, Balram is none other than Supreme Personality Lord. And if Roma Harshana was physically in that mode of goodness, then he would have basically understood that who is this person, and he would have given his obeisance and offered the seat to him. The fact that he didn't understand that says that he was not in that position. Maybe he was in the mode of goodness in terms of maybe karma kanda, but not in terms of spiritual mode of
Not
goodness.
in the correct.
Right.
And another thing, I think he was thinking, I'm the learned person. I am the here. I know everything, or that's the kind of, and that ego led to his destruction, I think. And that is what the Daksha also had. That's correct. Daksha also was similar, like he was materialistic, but he had also has an ego, and he got into conflict with Lord Shiva, who was also, he was on the Suddha Sattva state.
So one thing to learn also from Romarshna's story is that, I mean, although he was killed, his son, Sutta Goswami, basically was asked to take the seat now and instruct the rishis in Naimisharanya, right?
Correct.
physically accepted that order with humility and did. He didn't say, "Oh, my father was killed, I'm going to take revenge," and all those things. He didn't do all those things. So sort of what we see here is like the Bhrigu Muni and all those people, like because Daksha was insulted, or because, or if you look at Nandi, she was insulted, they started cursing each other and all those things. But I mean, Sutta Goswami being a powerful rishi could have done the same thing, but he didn't do anything, any of that. Again, it shows the difference between sometimes the demigods and the devotees in terms of their. Even if you look at Nandi also, I mean, he's a adherent devotee of Lord Shiva. He was also in the mode of ignorance. So basically, cursed Daksha to become a goat, have a goat head. So that's why you get a goat head. Head was cut and stuff like that. So, but if you look at like a Prahlad Maharaj, although his father was killed, he was happy in that sense that okay, he turned okay, like just like a scorpion is killed. I mean, or a snake has to be killed by even a Brahmana's killed them. I think you killed my father. So he was very grateful for that. So a devotee's nature is shown in many of his pastimes actually. How it is different from a demigod or a person, even if it's in the mode of goodness. A devotee is, even a devotee might be in the mode of passion or ignorance, but still his mode is different.
Correct. So yeah, that's good. I think so. We did the categorizations in this, and we presented our understanding in this, and how Srimad Bhagavatam is conveying the realization. We captured in the one of the last slide, and Srila Prabhupada's teaching, mood and application there. So that's all about this. That's it, I think. So anything else we want to discuss?
One question came to me actually. Okay. So the main thing is Lord Shiva was so tolerant, right? When Daksha was cursing before everybody, right? And why after Sati, gave up her body, he became so angry to decided to destroy completely.
I think one is he was very. Sati was like one of the chaste women, like that's what we learned. Like, and she was, she had nothing wrong. She has nowhere involved in this conversation, whether it's Daksha or between Lord Shiva happening. And she actually wanted to correct her father, and she, even though Lord Shiva told her like, don't go there, and because you are so respectful person, if they basically they insult you, then you will not accept that, and you're going to quit your body. And so that part, and then and when Lord Shiva heard that actually Sati left the body, so that confirmed that they also did not respect Sati very well, like who was his own daughter, and plus she was a chess woman, and that is why he was probably shown anger because a Vaishnava, because she was also Vaishnavi, if you look at it. That's my understanding. So maybe we can open up for others too.
Thank you, Babaji.
So one thing we know again is that Shiva is sort of, I mean, technically is in the mode of, when is a lot of mode of ignorance, right? Or darkness, right? So we could say that because, and then, so, I mean, so it was natural for him to get angry when his beloved wife was killed. And if you look from a Vaishnava behavior, etiquette behavior, which I was telling, discussing some earlier, is that sometimes when a Vaishnava is offended or killed, basically, if you have the power, either you basically give up your own life or kill the person who has offended your Vaishnava. In this case, because Daksha was the cause of death of Sati, and technically she is also very great devotee of the Lord and also his dear wife. So I think it was natural for him to get angry, and then and because he had the power, they basically went and killed Daksha. I mean, at least that is my take on this. Based upon, I don't know.
I think it was the right action from Lord Shiva. Otherwise, if he would not have taken action, he would keep doing to other people also, Daksha. You have to see that.
But the only, because I mean, the only thing that I have a question from this pastime is when Shiva is Vaishnava, you said he's a really most related Vaishnava and humble. And at some point in time, he knew Daksha was offended by him. for whatever reason, or very incorrectly also. But somehow we don't see in this pastime that he didn't play the role of like a like saying, okay, like sometimes we do like, okay, even if I might not have been the, what do you say, offender, but just to keep to sort of him happy because he's my father-in-law, just to ask forgiveness. I didn't see that happen here, so I'm not really sure why that didn't happen, because there's nothing mentioning about that. But generally, would expect that like a senior was have a very great Vaishnava would have done that. So that, but again, which Krishna's pastimes or whatever it is for these events to happen. But somehow I had always doubted why couldn't Shiva just ask forgiveness or just talk to Daksha and say be nice to him and make him happy. Right? So could have easily been done. So not sure why that didn't happen.
Actually, I want to take it to next level because even Brahmaji was fully aware of the both behavior. Like he knew that Daksha's behavior, he knew the Lord Shiva's behavior, and he knew that this equation will not work very well. And actually, he actually that's the reason he didn't even come to the assembly. Him and then Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, they both didn't come because they knew that this is going to happen. And actually, this happened. And after this happening, like I was reading the next chapter, everybody went to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji actually went and pleased the Lord Shiva. Like now he's communicating, he's telling, "Oh, you have done this, and can you and there is a good quality in Daksha also because it's maintaining the Varnashram Dharma, and it's important for us to keep the Varnashram Dharma going on." And on that basis, he convinced Lord Shiva to restore his life. And then when life was restored for Daksha and other people, then Lord Brahmaji actually chastised all of them and told them that you need to understand the position of Lord Shiva and this. So in the same tone, like the way you are asking this question, why not Brahmaji took this initiative before and why he waited for this after? And again, we don't know this reason. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm. So could ask.
Yeah, one thing I just want to add, I mean, maybe correct me. So I don't think that Shiva is like a mode of ignorance, and that's what he become angry, right? Um, he's like a full pure Vaishnava, and if you look at that, his sabha, like whether Narad or Kumar, everybody's sitting and 24/7 he's meditating, right?
Mhm.
So I don't think it's a point of mode of ignorance, and that's what he become angry. It's just like a because he this kind of it's because of sati, right? I mean, that's what I mean. He thought of that it should not happen, right? I mean, so uh, and as you mentioned, right, it is right that he invited both Daksh Prajapati. He invited both Brahma and Vishnu, but they knows that this is going to happen, right? And
Mhm.
that's what they didn't come even to the Yagsala. So yeah, so that is, I think, yeah. I mean, my point is that I mean I don't think it's a mode of ignorance, but yeah, that's my point.
No, I don't think it's a modern ignorance. It's just he has to take the like because Sati being a Vaishnava also like she is like a Prakriti like she is all the power like, because Srila Prabhupada says it that on one of the purpose Sati has so much power like she could destroy the whole world by herself like most of the like planets. Forget about this only one. So why she chose to emulate herself just because Taksha was her father? That's the only reason. But she has enough immense power like in herself like she could destroy everybody like so. But let's see, we haven't heard from others like see Ashtasaki Mataji, Ashtasaki and other Sugopi Mataji and please chime in. Yeah, this is our time. This is your time. Go ahead, Sachisuda Prabhu.
The other point, I was asked the question and then I was thinking,
Mm.
might be this way also, right? Any insult came to me, that is Lord Shiva, I'm okay, I will tolerate all of this.
Mm.
But you insulting Sati, I cannot tolerate. This is the end of it, you know?
That should be the mood actually.
Yeah.
That is what we have to be like. We have to practice the same thing. Like if it is coming to us, we should tolerate. But it is coming to somebody who's Vaishnava, and we know, then we should stand up and yeah. Okay. Anybody wants to?
No, thank you, Prabhuji, for taking the lead and summarizing everything. Okay, a lot of work, I know.
Yeah,
Coordinating all of us.
this time I think everybody helped, so thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for compiling everything. Together.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can you unshare the?
Oh yeah, thank you. That's a good point.
Unshare and don't forget to stop the recording. Okay.
You can stop the recording if you want.
You might have to make me host otherwise.
Oh, so how do we do that?
Go to my name
Okay.
and then assign me as a host.
Okay, fine.
There is a dot, right? The three more. There is a more you are saying, right?
I made it. I made you host.
Okay.
Okay. So, Aswati, you were saying something?
No, I was not saying anything.
Stop live stream, right, Mataji? That's all I need to do, correct?
Yes. Yes. Stop live stream, and then you're going to save the video, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Wherever you need to save
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I will save it in my